Well, hello and welcome to another episode of the Leadership Academy podcast. My name is AJ Willoughby. Glad to be back with you all today. Again, the show is brought to you by our sponsors, Titan Media Works. Titan Media Works, they are the easy button to getting your podcast taken care of. They take care of the editing, the production, all the busy work that comes into place there, and getting it up on the internet. They take care of it all for you. All you got to do is just show up, do your show, and that's about it. So check them out, Titan Media Works with an X, WORX.com, and they can help you out. All right, let's get into the show. This show, as we know, it's all about getting down to understanding and educating and learning about how to be better leaders and better at what it is we do, running our businesses, managing teams. And today, I'll tell you, I'm really excited. We have Lisa Thomas. Lisa is the founder and the CEO of Main Street Marketing Partners. They are a branding and marketing agency that dedicated to helping small to mid-sized businesses define their brand and realize their tangible growth. And we've talked to marketing people in the past, we've talked to branding people in the past, but they have it all encapsulated all together. And so I'm really interested to find out, exactly, putting all this together and how it really works for the clients and for leaders and people starting their business. Lisa, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, AJ. I'm really excited to be here. I love what you're doing, and I'm excited to be part of it.
Well, Lisa, let's jump in first and tell us a little bit about you, a little bit about your journey to where you are at today as a leader and what it is that you all do for your clients.
Yeah, I call myself sort of the reluctant entrepreneur. Never really thought that I would start my own business. But during the pandemic, the company that I was with a digital agency, and they shut their doors. And so I found myself in a place of needing to recreate myself, and really was on the business development side of things. But I was doing what I always do. I'm a voracious networker. And so I was just networking with some of my peers and just giving them some advice on their company and their website. And just one day he turned to me and said, "Well, why don't we just hire you?" And I really hadn't thought about it that way before, but I just was trying to help him with his story and what he was doing. And I did a branding project for him, and then he referred me somebody else, and I did another one, and I kind of repeated that a number of times. And then all of a sudden, I realized I have a business on my hands. And so 4 years later, here I am, and I've got a team, and we're expanding. But really, the core of everything that we still do is that brand messaging is really understanding somebody's story and helping them to tell that.
Oh, that's awesome. So when you all work with your clients, where do you start them out at? I mean, you just do a strategy session, you just go, figure things out. How is it that you start your conversations with your
Yeah,
clients?
yeah, great question. Great question. I start with the conversation, and I do take my clients through a series of interviews. I set up key stakeholder interviews, so we decide at the very beginning who those people are that we need to talk to. Generally, it's the founder or the owner, people that are internal and people that are external, to really get a cross section of perspectives. And what I find is there's kind of a golden thread through all of those interviews that brings out the essence of who they are and actually why they do what they do and why people want to do business with them. And so that's what's really exciting is it's like this thread that gets woven. And at the end, I kind of put all of these interviews up on my screen and look at all the different things that have been said, and magic comes from that. I find it every single time I do it.
Wow. So of course, yeah, I want to get into a little bit about that as far as how you pull that all out and how, as business owners and leaders, they kind of figure out that direction. But before we do, something that's unique about you again is you all are both the branding and the marketing side of things. So tell me how you work that together.
Right. Well, and I say, if you have a report and it just sits on your desk, it does you no good. So the branding is that report, it's that messaging and that kind of thing. But what the marketing is it helps to tell that out. It helps to communicate that to the ideal audience. So the brand messaging and everything is critical because unless you really understand And I'm a huge Simon Sinek follower, and so the power of the why is really I kind of see the my branding through that lens of why is it that you do what you do, and really understanding that, and then being able to tell that story in a way that resonates with people in a very authentic way. And so the marketing piece is the outward messaging of all that branding that's been done.
So I would imagine that actually helps a lot also because making sure that once you get that branding all put together, you can synergistically make sure that all of the marketing aspects are reflecting that
Absolutely.
and make everything cycle together.
Absolutely. And, it's not just I a lot of times I'll start with a website because if I've gone through brand messaging, then typically the messaging on the website doesn't align then. So then we work on that. But another piece that's kind of an intangible is really helping to communicate that internally to the team and to the business owner to go, this is something that needs to be part of your DNA. Your messaging and your vision and your values, that needs to be part of who you are when you're communicating out, out and about in the community.
So let's talk on the branding side first. So you mentioned about that golden thread, getting that information down to the nitty-gritty of who the company is and determining their brand. How do you go about that? How does a business owner really try to figure that out? Because of course it's, yeah, who am I trying to reach? It's everybody is, they've got this such a generic view of it. How do you help them narrow that down and then all the way down to the right colors and
Right.
schemes?
Absolutely. I ask a lot of questions. So I go in depth as to what their inspiration is. And I always say, I don't know, you know what you do. And that's great. That's awesome. I work with some medical device startups, and they're typically brilliant people that have invented something. So that's awesome. But I need to know what inspired you. What was behind it? Was there a family member that was sick? Was there somebody that you saw that you knew needed this device or needed this product? And so I dig into that aspect, which is really the emotional aspect, and creating an emotional connection with the brand that goes beyond just what it is that they do, because you can sell, everybody has a widget. There's so much competition. I don't know I don't care who you are, there's competition no matter where you are. And one example I always use is Apple, which is I said, Apple doesn't sell computers. There are a lot of computer companies out there, but what Apple sells is that experience. When you walk into their store, when you take the computer out of that box, it's beautiful. And that's really how they started. Was with the iPod back in the 90s, and they had a campaign called "A Thousand Songs in Your Pocket." And it had nothing to do with the technology and everything to do with the experience, and that's what really set them apart. So that's really the lens that come at it from.
That's something that I think is so very important for business owners and leaders to understand, and that is it's about the experience for the customer. It's not about the widget. It's not about, all the specs. It's that, unless you're selling to a technical engineer, then maybe they're looking at the specs.
Yes,
But everybody else, they want to know what's in it for me and
absolutely.
why do I want this versus the competition. So that's very good. All right, so let's talk now on the marketing side. Now, so I'm going to ask the question that, uh, and I know because I've had that marketing background, so I know this comes. So I'm just going to say what so many people say. What's the best way to market my business?
And I would say that all depends on your business, right? Yeah, and that's one of the things that we learn through this branding process. That's why I never sidestep that. I don't care if it has to be, just a few interviews. It's so critical to understand that, because in understanding why a business does what they do and understanding why somebody wants to do business with them, we go to where their customers are. So it's understanding who is your ideal customer and where do they hang out. They may hang out on Facebook, but they may not. They may hang out on Instagram. So, where are your customers? And let's go visit them where they are and speak to them in what their needs are and what excites them.
Okay, so now let's dive into where not so general because that's wherever people
Mhm.
start is, yeah, well, where should I market?
Mhm.
and because you're right. All right, let's narrow it down. So now, all right, so let's say the B2C clientele. And granted, I know now, right now we're talking about age demographics. So
Right.
let's say that, we're talking that 30 to 50-year old demographic. 30 to 50-year old, primarily female, 50-40, or 60-40. I mean, 60-40 female, um, you know, uh, 30 to 50-year-old consumer that you're trying to reach. So let's narrow that down now. What are you seeing as far as the trends? And I realize still there's a whole lot more to dial down into the business to before you can really dial it specifically. But what kind of trends are you seeing with everything from all the different social media things out there and all the different marketing avenues from radio, TV, podcasting, social media, pay per click, all that.
Right.
What are you seeing?
I gotta say, video has been around for a while, but the way people are using video now, I think, is unique. The reels, things that are very short. Number one, it can live longer. You can push that out through email, through social media. There's so many different ways that you can do it. That video, I think, is a really critical component. And then just being really authentic, telling the stories. So we have a client right now that's a vocational school, and we're highlighting some of their alumni and just the stories that have come out of that. And I think that's what, again, it goes to that emotional impact. How are you presenting your content in a way that's going to connect? And it's got to have that heart aspect to it to connect with an audience.
So that 30 to 50, are you seeing social media as being a key aspect? Are you seeing it more Google, doing pay per click, Google
I
ads?
think, you know what? I think social media, I think Meta, doing Meta ads, when you can really target and narrow your audience. The great thing about what we have with our data that we have now is that you can really pinpoint your audience based on geography, based on all those demographics, and again, really just speak to them. So I think it's really understanding that and understanding what is your customer journey and following them with that. I mean, but it depends on the geography as well. How wide is your reach? Is it a hyper local campaign? In that case, sometimes I'm still a fan of direct mail. That sometimes works very effectively because not as many people are doing direct mail, so that when you do send something and it hits the mailbox, you may be seen more effectively even than an email campaign. So again, it really depends on the client, but those are some of the things. I wouldn't count direct mail out. That's another thing. If you're doing something local, can be very effective.
That's a very great thing that you just bringing up as far as like direct mail. And I know there was that period of time people were saying, "Oh, direct mail is dead." All it is it's trash. All they do, they take it and throw it away. And then it became, oh, everything was email marketing. Then it became email marketing. Oh, all it is spam. Everything just goes to the trash now. So email marketing is dead. Then you have to do everything social media, and Facebook is where it's all at. Then you start hearing, oh, Facebook is dead. Facebook, all that's starting to fade away. It's everything. It's TikTok. It's Instagram. It's all the new platforms that are coming out. And I think what we're seeing is actually a revolution of what's not that things are dying out. It's where people are anticipating more of the ads to come from, and so they go to those other platforms and all of a sudden they see it. So for instance, direct mail, I think that you're right. That is something that is very relevant
Right.
still. I don't
Absolutely.
think it's
Years ago, I was involved in local political campaigns, and so obviously direct mail is a big part of that. Any kind of campaign. And I remember we had a campaign manager that said, "You have the amount of time it takes from going to the mailbox to the trash can to get somebody's attention." Because they're going to look at that flyer, that card, whatever it is, and does it say something that matters to them? And if it does, they may hold on to that. And so that's where you've got something in their hands, and there are ways to track direct mail now that didn't. I mean, you've got QR codes that have really revolutionized the way marketing is done now. So that's one area that I see huge trend. Who thought the QR codes would ever be big? But look at it now; they're everywhere. So
Yeah.
that's another trend.
Yeah. Yeah. We that is one thing we can thank the pandemic for,
Yes,
is QR
absolutely.
codes.
Yep, absolutely, absolutely, for sure.
And what you said though is exactly right for every aspect of marketing that you're
Yeah,
doing. It's that time that they take it. Okay, they have it in their hand, they took it from the mailbox. That time between there and when they're dropping it in the trash can, you've got to get it. It's the same thing with if you're doing email marketing,
yep,
if you're doing Facebook ads, if you're doing, it doesn't matter where it is, you've only got a matter of a few seconds to catch people. And
absolutely.
if you don't catch them in that, it's gone. And that's where it's so important for your branding to be spot on,
Yeah,
because you've got to have a way to make sure that you're engaging people.
yes, absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
all right. So, and obviously we know Facebook's not dead. It just depends on what audience you're going for.
Yeah,
The same thing
yeah,
with direct mail. But if you're trying to reach different demographics, if you're trying to reach the 20-year-old, you're probably not going to be doing it on Facebook. You're probably going to do TikTok. If
yes,
and here in 20 years from now, TikTok, they're going to say it's dead. Well, that's because the 20-year-olds aren't going there anymore. They're going to the next big social
right,
media thing,
right.
but everybody else is going there, and so it depends on where your clientele is. So,
Absolutely, absolutely. And one other thing I have to add, because this is the biggest trend, I hear it every single place I go, is AI. AI has affected marketing, and a lot of people think, well, why do we need a marketing person? Because we can just plug something into AI.
yeah,
And I've actually done presentations on this, and the statistics actually show that content written by a human performs better than written by AI. So I say I'm a writer by background, so that is music to my ears. But that is extremely useful, and I think it can't be ignored because it's not going away, but it has to be managed. And so, just for all those marketers out there, the human touch is still the most important, but AI can help our efforts.
you're absolutely right. Yeah, AI is uh, it's a tool,
Yeah,
and people that are leaning on it to be the end all it's doing is regurgitating stuff. So it can't think creatively out of the box. So that's where you've got to have that human contact. That's very important. You're right.
absolutely.
So, all right. So, what piece of information before we, start concluding here, is there any other piece of information on the marketing and branding side that you want to share?
I would just encourage people to really think about what gets them out of bed in the morning, and what their passion is in what they do, because that's where they're going to find their answers as to what their brand messaging is. That's what I look for. It's that piece. So, and it's everybody says, do what you're passionate about, but really think about that. That's where the key is. That's where the answer lies.
All right. All right. So, the last question of the show. If you had to choose one piece of advice that you wish that you had received at the very beginning of your journey through all this, that you think would have really helped had you have had that piece of advice then that you got later, that would have helped you avoid pitfalls, would have helped you to have a faster trajectory, whatever it is, what would that one piece of advice be?
Well, this is actually a piece of advice I got very early on in my career that I have used. So I don't know that it's something that I would have helped me avoid things. It's actually something I've used. And it was in my very first sales manager. And he quoted Zig Ziglar, and he said, if you help enough people get what they want, you automatically get what you want. And it always stuck with me. And so in networking and everything that I do, what I try to do is extend a hand out before I ask for something in return, and just coming at it from that spirit of giving, and thinking about how can I best help you in your business, and it automatically comes back.
Yes, that's very good advice. Zig Ziglar is a great amount of wisdom from that man.
Yeah.
Lisa, So again, Lisa Thomas, founder, CEO of Main Street Marketing Partners. Lisa, if people wanted to know more information about how to get in touch with you and get some more information, how would they do that?
They can email me at lisa@msmarketingpartners.com or just go to our website at msmarketingpartners.com.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the
Thank
show.
you.
Leadership Academy, again, brought to you by Titan Media Works. Titan Media Works, they go make it easy for you to do your podcasting, whether it's for your company, for corporations, for you individually, whatever it is you're looking to do. Check them out. They do take care of it. All you do basically is just show up, do the show, and then you've got a producer and editors and your team that takes care of it for you. TitanMediaWorks.com. Works is WORX.com. So go check them out today. Again, this has been the Leadership Academy podcast. My name's AJ Willoughby. Glad to be with you all. See you all next time.